Hey everyone, hope you're having a good week. This is Rob in the Abyss, and as promised, this is my midweek episode. And you probably guessed it, but these are some films over the last 4 weeks that I have missed. Um, Not necessarily the ones we've talked about before, like Bull Durham or Fish Called Wanda, or even movies like Caddyshack, Ghostbusters, movies you guys know that were not deliberately missed, but kind of because I had a lot of opportunity to show you other films that I left out the ones that were more mainstream, that everybody kind of knows, that were kind of teetering on lists for me. But these are movies that, as I was going through my buckets of movies and stuff like that, and my shelves, as you see, and all that. Oh my gosh, I forgot that one. Or, oh my gosh, I forgot that one. So I figured I would do a midweek's segment for you guys to add to your list. And I know it's tough because I just keep adding more and more. But the great part about all of this is you have all the time in the world to do your homework. As actors, this is part of your homework, right? We talk about studying human behavior. We talk about the business side, resumes, pictures, the do's and don'ts, and always learning that kind of stuff. But also, the ultimate study of what we do is watching film, watching acting, watching the eyes, watching behavior, watching the authenticity, the realism, etc. So I got a bunch, so I'm going to go through them pretty quick. But just maybe some of these movies you've never heard of, or have heard of and haven't given them a shot yet. So the first year we're going to start with is we're going to actually start in 73. First one to show you actually is a Criterion. It's a movie with Martin Sheen and Sissy Spacek. It's called Badlands. It's based on the story of Charles Starkweather and his girlfriend and the weekend murder spree they went on. Unreal story in real life. A really, really good movie, and it looks amazing on the Criterion. Another one from 79 is another true story, Al Pacino and Serpico. He plays New York police officer Frank Serpico, who basically exposes the corruption in the NYPD back in the day, and he does an amazing job. One of Pacino's best films, especially in the 70s, and it's a hidden gem. 1976 is a TV movie, Helter Skelter, and I figured I would show you this one because I remember watching this on TV, and now you can get it in its unedited version without the commercials and such. And with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood kind of bringing back the Helter Skelter story a little bit. This was one that I can't believe I missed because I've seen this several times. And Steve Railsback, who plays Manson, does just an unbelievable job in this film. Really, really good. All right. Next one I'm going to go with 79. Well, 78 I'm going to go with. I'm sorry. Burt Reynolds, Hooper. Another cool movie because he's a stuntman. So a lot of this movie is done on the set, and you kind of get to see how they interchange between the actors and the stunt people. And what's really cool about this is in a couple of the movies that he's doing within the movie, he's the stuntman for Adam West, of Batman fame and such. And Adam West actually looks like Burt Reynolds in the movie, but Burt Reynolds is supposed to be the stand-in for Adam West, or the stuntman for Adam West. So it's kind of neat to see that kind of stuff. And it comes down to Robert Klein as a director who wants to do this big car jump at the end, and whether he's going to do it or not. It also co-stars Jan Michael Vincent, who at the time was a really good actor. Unfortunately, due to alcoholism and other things, he really messed up his career. But he's in his heyday in this one with Burt Reynolds, and this is a really, really fun film. All right, now we'll go to 79. First one I'm going to show you is Peter Falk and Alan Arkin in The In-Laws. Yes, this was remade with Albert Brooks and Michael Douglas later, but this is the original. A really, really strong film, and once again, it's on a Criterion, so it looks amazing. Another one from 79 is another TV movie starring Kurt Russell, Elvis the movie. If you've been in class with me, you've heard me say it before. No one has ever done Elvis as good as Kurt Russell, and I don't know if they ever will. he is Elvis, but he is Kurt Russell at the same time. He does exactly what we talk about as actors. But he has the mannerisms down and the speech down, and I don't know, Mama. I mean, he's just really, really good. This is also a John Carpenter film, a recurring theme in a lot of my videos from the 70s and 80s, and this is phenomenal. Once again, it's great to see these TV movies coming out on DVD and Blu-ray because you get now an opportunity to see them, whereas you wouldn't be able to see them before. So really cool. This is also 79, kind of a fun football movie. Mac Davis and Nick Nolte, North Dallas 40. If you kind of like a fun comic drama type movie with some football involved, this might be a fun one for you. Another one from 80, or now we're going into 80, is a kind of comedic caper type film. It's a movie called Hopscotch, starring Glenda Davis and Walter Matthau, Ned Beatty. It's really, really fun. It's another Criterion that is really good, and and that's the cool thing about Criterions. They kind of bring some of these movies that were lost from the 60s, 70s, 80s, even actually further back. I have some from the 40s that were, kind of lost back into the mainstream. And so movies that like a Hopscotch, most people never heard of, but it's a really, really strong film, and it's worth the watch. The other one from 80, and I'm doing my best to remember the year, so I may be off a year or two. Please bear with me. Matt Dillon in My Bodyguard stars Chris Makepeace, Adam Baldwin, and Matt Dillon as the bully. One of my favorites back in the day. It's a really, really good movie, and I think this is the movie that really got me into liking Matt Dillon films. All right, another Kurt Russell. I think we're in 81 now. Escape from New York. He plays his legendary Snake Plissken role, which of course he reprises in the 90s in Escape from LA, but I don't think Escape from LA can kind of hold the candle of what Escape from New York did. And this is once again another Carpenter film. And you remember a few episodes ago we said, we'll start seeing some Carpenter films with Kurt Russell in them. Well, we're seeing them now with Elvis and Escape from New York and such. All right. Another Pacino. So we're starting to see kind of a recurring theme with some of these actors. It's a movie called Author. He is a playwright. His wife leaves him, and his wife's like on her third marriage or whatever. So he's left to not only take care of his own son, but her kids as well. Try to put on a play. Diane Cannon's his lead actress in the play. And then he has a romantic thing with her, which the wife doesn't like. And it just kind of has this fun, once again, love triangle, comedy, fun, and Pacino doing Pacino. A comedy, Burt Reynolds, Cannonball Run. Most of you have heard of it. Basically, it's a car race across the United States and all the shenanigans that goes on. Typical Burt Reynolds racing movie. A lot of superstars in this. You get Farrah Fawcett as the female lead. You get, Dom DeLuise, of course, Dean Martin, and Sammy Davis Jr. I mean, you can't go wrong with some of these legendary actors, and it's a really fun one. They do a second one, which is not a bad film, but it's not as good as the first. Okay, 1983, I think, or maybe I'm still in 82. I think that's 82 still. The original Clash of the Titans. You've seen the remakes that they've done with the CGI and such, but kind of like when we talked about Flash Gordon, this is, one of those kind of cheesy classic films from the 80s, and they did what they could with the technology they had, and there's such a authenticity about it, even though it's kind of corny and cheesy. On the other hand, there is an authenticity to it, and of course, the legendary scene with Medusa is phenomenal, and this is another great 80s film. Can't believe I missed it. Another Matt Dillon movie called Tex. It's he's a couple movies in, but a young Emilio Estevez kind of makes his film debut in this, and he's Matt Dillon's best friend in this, and the trouble they get in together, and then he falls in love with Meg Tilly, and it's a good, fun, like teenage love story, teenage buddy story, and it's a good one from the 80s. All right, so we're sticking. I think we're in 83. Rob Lowe, Andrew McCarthy, Jacqueline Bisset, Class. Anna McCarthy and Rob Lowe are roommates at a private school, and Anna McCarthy falls in love with this woman. Woman turns out to be Rob Lowe's mom, and here we go, another kind of crazy story. Rob Lowe is super, super funny in this. He's a lot of fun. I would say when it comes to his comedies, probably his best role. Okay, we'll go quick with this one because a lot of people know it. Michael Keaton, Mr. Mom. You know, he loses his job. Wife gets a job. He has to stay home with the kids, and you know, it's a terrific comedy. This is coming off of his film debut at Night Shift, which kind of catapults him into the film world. And then this is like his first like true lead, and it's terrific. He's really, really good in this. Really, really funny. Terry Garr is great as the wife. The kids are phenomenal. Just a real fun, real well made film. Another 83 one, and I mentioned it in a video, but I didn't show it, so I'll show it now. Tom Cruise, All the Right Moves. He plays football. Craig T. Nelson's his coach. His buddy is the star linebacker, which is played by Chris Penn, and it's all about them and their football team. And Tom Cruise mouths off and gets in trouble with the coach, and then the whole story is how he's going to figure out how to get himself into college as a college football player. Leah Thompson plays his girlfriend. So it's cool to see these young stars who go on to do other films. I mean, of course, Tom Cruise goes on to the Superstar with Top Gun and things like that. And Leah Thompson, of course, Back to the Future. It's kind of neat to see them in their early years, and they're still really, really good and really, really strong in these films. All right. I think the last one for 83, Rodney Dangerfield, and yeah, that's Joe Pesci in Easy Money. And I remember seeing this as a kid, and I didn't know who Joe Pesci was, but I watched it because I love Rodney Dangerfield. Billy Joel did the theme song, Easy Money. It's a fun comedy. They're gamblers, they're drinkers, they eat, they're out of shape, they smoke, they do everything wrong. And his mother-in-law, Dangerfield's mother-in-law, dies. And basically, if he can cut out all the bad habits in a year, he inherits all the money, and that's why they call it Easy Money. And Joe Pesci's his friend, who's more of an enabler than a helper, but he's really, really funny, and it's fun to see him now, knowing Goodfellas and My Cousin Vinny and those kinds of things. Seeing him in a movie like this, he's really, really good. This is one of my favorite Dangerfield movies. It's really, really good. All right, I think we're into 84 now. You've heard me talk about it in class. Michael Keaton, Johnny Dangerously, Joe Piscopo, Peter Boyle. It's a spoof on mobster movies, and it's got some of the greatest lines in it and moments. We were watching one yesterday in class, as a matter of fact, or on Monday, where they the guy's doing the Latin as the priest, and he's just making up words. I'm on the bus, you're on the bus, we all missed the bus, and it's supposed to sound like Latin. It's funny. Or the other gangster, rival gangster, who can't curse in English, and he calls you fargan bastages. It's really it has a lot of great moments in it. It's a good spoof comedy. Another one from 84, Laura Dern, Nick Nolte, Ralph Macchio, Teachers. It's about some trouble with high school kids, and Nick Nolte, being more of the relaxed type teacher, tries to help the kids out, and it kind of gets him in trouble. And you get a Jo Beth Williams in it, who's kind of making her way up through the acting ranks at this point, and you just get a really strong film that a lot of people probably haven't heard of, and it's one that you don't want to miss. All right, another one I mentioned in another video, but I didn't show. Dan Aykroyd, Chevy Chase, Donna Dixon, Spies Like Us. Great fun comedy. Like I said, we talked about it before. You've probably heard of it. It's really, really good. Check it out. Another John Cusack, Daphne Zuniga, The Sure Thing, Anthony Edwards, of course, who was Goose in Top Gun. John Cusack's his friend, coming out to California to visit him, to meet this girl who is the Sure Thing, who I believe is played by Nicholas Sheridan. Yep, it was. And it's a fun story of him going across town or across country with Daphne and all the stuff they go into, but then of course falling in love on the way. A typical 80s love story, but fun movie all the same. Another John Cusack, which is more of a goof comedy, Better Off Dead. Everybody knows it. I Want My $2. A pretty classic film for us in the 80s. It was a must see, a must watch. So I at least had to point it out. Okay, we are into 86. Goldie Hawn, Wesley Snipes, Woody Harrelson, Wildcats. She is given the head coaching football job, and the players don't really buy into it originally, but once she proves herself, they buy in, and Wesley Snipes is a superstar. It's a young Woody Harrelson. It's great to see once again these young guys get an opportunity and become stars several years later. And I mean, Goldie Hawn being Goldie Hawn is adorable and as amazing as she is, and this is a really really good comedy. She's great with the kids. The rival football coach is Bruce McGill, of course, who played D-Day in Animal House. He was the sheriff in My Cousin Vinny. Been in a ton of things, and he does a great job in this. And like I said, Goldie Hawn's amazing. Wesley Snipes, Woody Harrelson, the rest of the kids, they're awesome, and it's just a really really good fun comedy. And I know I use the term fun a lot, but that's how I see them. They're just fun comedies. You sit back and enjoy them. You have a smile on your face, and they're fun. Another 86 I'm going to show you is a Criterion. It's a movie called Something Wild. It stars Jeff Daniels and Melanie Griffith, and it's the movie premiere, and this is why I want to point it out, of Ray Liotta, and he is ridiculously good. Ridiculously mean. He's just an ass, but he's so good in this. And then it's another Criterion, like I said, and it just looks great, and it is a really, really good movie. The last one I want to show you of my Criterions is Broadcast News, William Hurt, Albert Brooks. It's just one of those movies where they work at the station, and you get all the shenanigans and stuff. But it's a classic '80s movie. Is really good, and I just wanted to point it out. May have heard it, may not have heard it, but this is the kind of movie that kind of got Office Space going and kind of got The Office going. Like it's almost like, to me at least, how I feel like this is kind of the start of that type of movie. It's really really good. All right, we're down to our last couple. Jim Belushi, Louis Gossett Jr., the principal. Kind of like the movie Teachers, he's trying to take over a high school that has issues and straightening it up, and has to deal with the bad element, the gang element, and it's a fun movie. Whenever you get teachers or adults dealing with kids, and you have that interaction, and the kids are good, and you have good lead actors, you're always going to get some pretty powerful moments in film, and some good comedic stuff too. And this is another one like that. All right, 88, 8 Men Out. It's the story of the 1919 Black Sox, Chicago White Sox, who were paid to throw the World Series. They were heavy favorites to win. The gamblers, led by Rothstein, bet on the Reds because of the odds. Didn't pay the players as much as they had promised. It's called 8 Men Out because the 8 of them who were implicated in this ended up being banned from baseball for life, including the Hall of Fame, which of course is Shoeless Joe Jackson, which we talked about in Field of Dreams. This one is based on the whole group of them, but really more centered around Buck Weaver, who's played by John Cusack, and from his view of how he dealt with it. But it is around the full 8 and the team and that. And I do, it's not necessarily one of the greatest baseball movies, but it's a good story that people need to watch because it's a story that people have heard about but need to see how it's told. And then the last is 1989, John Ritter, Skin Deep. And up to this point, John Ritter was basically known for his role in Three's Company, which he was phenomenal. But Skin Deep, pegs him as a womanizer, and all the different women he dates and has to deal with their boyfriends and their craziness and all the stuff that he has to deal with. And it's a really really funny comedy. It's really really good. He's terrific in it. You get a little sense of that Jack Tripper, but now with the womanizer type attitude in it, and it makes a really good funny comedy. So there you have it. There's another stack of, I think, about 28 films that most you probably haven't heard of, or if you have, probably never watched. And that was my whole point, that add these to the list and keep going, and then let me know what you think. And I'm always going to miss some, and I'm always going to forget some. It's tough with the collection I have, but I try to do my best to give you guys stuff to watch. And I know a lot of you guys are watching them and are really appreciating these lists. So I appreciate you for doing that. So enjoy the rest of your week. We'll start with 1990 on Monday. Make sure you're doing the stuff, right? Subscribe, hit the like button, make your comments, and we'll see you Monday.